Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm here with a great guy and longtime business partner with FireFlex, Jonathan Roger. Jonathan is the General Director of FireFlex. How you doing, man?
Good yourself?
I'm doing well. We can't make the trade shows this year. At least it doesn't seem that way. So we cranked one up and get to see you anyway, and wanted to have you talk to our audience, talk to our company, and maybe educate me on some new stuff this year about what's going on with FireFlex. So talk to me a little bit.
Well, actually, thanks for having us on. I think it's a great initiative actually to do this because you're right. It's nice to be able to talk about our products. And obviously, this year we haven't had that much of a chance, so I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Awesome.
So with FireFlex, well, like I said, we have a lot of new things as well this year. We're working on a lot of things, but most of our new products, we have the VacTech, which we've talked about in the past before, but more and more offerings right now are being done with the VacTech, with actually Viking Corp as well, with new sprinkler heads. So that's it's very interesting. Right now we have the approval on new pendant heads, which we didn't have before. So before we only had uprights that were used with the vacuum system. So we were mostly doing freezers and parking garages. But now with the addition of these new pendant approvals, we'll be able to do other projects, non-storage related, even data centers or pharmaceuticals or other places where pre-action would be used and you want to mitigate corrosion. So for us, that's a big change.
Integrated systems, I think, is really where you guys are focused in right now, and just opening up your thought processes and casting vision. So, talk to me about integrated systems. What is that all about, and explain to me why you guys are focusing on that.
Well, for FireFlex, we're the specialists, I guess, in integrated systems. We've been doing this for almost 30 years now. We started out in 1991 by doing the first total pack on water-based systems, so pre-action dry systems in integrated cabinets. But since then, we've actually branched off and done many systems. So we have our compressed air foam, ICAS. We have also a clean agent offering with the FireFlex 1230 and FireFlex Dual. The dual system being a clean agent portion and a water-based pre-action system in the same unit. We've also the first ones to integrate nitrogen generators in an integrated unit. So we have our FireFlex N2 Blast, which has, again, the pre-action portion, but also a nitrogen generator inside the cabinet. And then also I just mentioned about the VacTech as being an integrated system. So for us, that's basically, our expertise. We've been doing this for a long time. We're the first ones, or the pioneers to do that in an integrated version. We've been copied over the years, but I think FireFlex, we have a very strong R&D department, and we're actually pushing more and more to do other products. And in the coming year and even years, we have other things up our sleeves as far as integrated systems are concerned. So,
integrated systems. I mean, when I think about it from a sales call perspective, or when I'm out reaching out with customers, and we're talking about how the systems are all blending out, and the necessity of integration with regards to backup systems with your gas and the fire suppression or the water suppression systems. A lot of the times we get the pushback we get, or the throwback is, boy, these things are expensive. Why is the ticket so high on this? And my thought process is that there's a lot more to it there's a lot more that goes into it than just the product that we see. So maybe explain to us why it may have is that a myth that it's more expensive than the rest?
well, it's a good question, because we get that a lot as well. And I think it is a myth. When you actually start looking at the customers should actually look at, what does it cost me to do a system? And then when you start breaking it down, you realize that there's a lot of things involved. First of all, you have to have somebody that orders the material, that lists the material, that does a procurement, make sure you don't forget anything when you send it to the job site. Then you're going to have your sprinkler contractor going to do the mechanical portion. So they have to follow the trim charts to make sure they trimmed it properly. Obviously, some of these people don't do it every day, a pre-action system. So are they doing it right? Do they have to kind of take some time to figure it out? At FireFlex, that's our daily business. So our people know how to trim the valves, and if you do it every day. Then you have to think about having to coordinate another trade for the electrical portion. So they have to do wiring in these systems. Also the control panel is a different group. The fire alarm technician who has to do the fire alarm portion and programming of the panel. So all these things that you have to coordinate on site, and we know that sometimes getting the right people at the right time, you can have a lot of downtime just waiting for people or waiting to get access to job sites. So coordinating all these things, and in the end, you want to make sure that the system also works properly. At FireFlex, when we do at the factory, everything is tested and approved as a unit. So we have, ISO standards, we have FN, UL, ULC, and I can name a bunch more organisms that come to FireFlex to audit us and make sure everything is according to the quality that we normally give. So when the system leaves the factory, we know it works, it's been tested, and everything's been approved. So just when you add up all those time issues that you might have on site plus the material, then when you add them up, I think it is better to have an integrated system. Just on also peace of mind, knowing that it works right away for the owner and the engineers, but also for the contractors. For sure, it's you can probably install two or three integrated systems by the time you install one, so you can actually be moving on to the next job right away and already doing something else. So it's really a plug and play approach that we have, and I think that in the end you end up saving.
The end users of a lot of the products, to me, what I've recognized in the past is that those end users, their brains work with a plug and play. It works with here's a box and everything's in it. You push a few buttons and it's connected the way it needs to, and it sits over there in the corner and it doesn't work until we need it to, right? So in my mind, those end users love that concept of, I don't have to worry about it. It's over here and it's all in one contained unit, completely packaged and viable.
No, as well. I mean, we have the fact that the cabinets also look good as well. So even if you're in a room where you don't have to hide it in a corner somewhere in a mechanical room, if you don't need to, you can have it out there and it works. The doors are lockable. So there's a lot of nice features, and I think the engineers of that spec as well like it because, again, it is a factory approved system and they know that it's going to work. Like you mentioned, sometimes you don't need these things until you really do need them and you want to make sure it works. And then that's the better guarantee when it's integrated and approved and tested.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with that more. It does make it easier. I say easier to sell, but certainly an all-encompassing unit with the type of service that you guys have always offered us has always been amazing. One of the more impressive systems for me has always been the ICAF, and we know that we're in a time period now, and I don't think we're ever going to back away from conservation of water, more specifically. Not so much that it's not available, that even if it is available, we're going to use small amounts of it to get to the type of suppression we need. So have there been some new developments in ICAF?
Well, actually, they have been new approvals that we got recently. ICAF, we've been working on it for a little while as well to kind of listen to the customers as well about some of the issues that we had or questions that they had. One of the things that we have new is the new nozzle. It's a TAR 450L. It's a local application nozzle with double the flow. So we've actually done is been able to reduce the amount of pipe to be installed around an equipment. So local application means like a power transformer or generator or any local protection that we want with foam. Now we can do with less nozzles, have more efficiency. So by doing that, we actually use less water, less foam, and less air to be able to do that. So that's a positive point for the installation and the contractors. We also worked on new cylinders as well. So now instead of having 2,400 PSI cylinders, we actually have 3,000 PSI cylinders. So with the same format of cylinder, we can put more usable air in there, so we can reduce the amount of cylinders needed on a project. This reduction is actually almost 25% less cylinders. So again, we're reducing the footprint to help out. And we also worked on a new cabinet design or a new valve design where we can reduce the footprint of some systems using different valves now. So shrink smaller cabinets, smaller footprint for the air cylinders, and less piping for nozzles for local applications are all things that we've done and have approved in the last few months that are going to be very useful for customers now to look at these projects.
It's amazing as well. That is awesome. one of the other projects and products that are near and dear to my heart are VacTech. You kind of brought it up in the very beginning, but the technology behind it is it's awesome. I think it's on the forefront. It has everything to do with what's interesting to contractors these days. Can you back up a little bit, talk a little bit about VacTech in general, but then talk about how it's evolved?
Well, for sure, VacTech, we're very excited about that technology as well. It's, still fairly new in a sense. We do have a lot of systems out there, and that works really well. But I think we're at the beginning of that technology as well, where we can add a lot to it. Like I mentioned at the beginning, you said, we do have new heads available, and I think the sprinkler heads that are coming out will just add to our application range even more. The VacTech, well, the fact that we're pulling, instead of putting positive pressure or positive air into a piping network, we're creating a vacuum in the piping network, which mitigates corrosion, is a big advantage. It does it quickly. And also we have hydraulic advantages as well that we're also working on to bring to code and to add to it. But there's a lot of more features that will be able to be added as well to VacTech, which we're working on right now with our R&D department as well. But just having the new demand for heads now, like I said before, the pendant heads, opens up a lot of interesting applications for the end users, engineers, and customers. And now we can put this in where we put more pre-action system. So anywhere you could put a pre-action system, a single, double interlock, or a dry system. Well, now we can do a VacTech option where we're mitigating corrosion rapidly. And again, eventually we'll have more hydraulic advantages to add to that list.
Remind me again what that pressure rating is, that small pressure vacuum on it. What is that regulation on it?
Well, the pressure that we go to negative, well, in PSI, we go approximately -2 PSI. So we're in the negative region. We talk about millibar, we're at minus 180 millibar. But so near -2 PSI. So just creating that small vacuum in that pipe does a lot for corrosion already. And
I think there may be some thoughts when you say vacuum. People automatically think it's some really hard pressure pulling from the system, and I wanted that to be clear to maybe our audience that we're talking about very, very, very small vacuum, just enough to pull back on it. So it'll be interesting the questions that are generated from this conversation today, and you guys are always on top of it with the technology and pushing forward, and so you're all just a phenomenal partner for not just Viking, but Viking Supply Net and our distribution network, and really appreciate everything you always do from a service standpoint. You're always there for us. Is there anything else you want our audience to know about, you guys before we cut you loose?
Well, no, I think, like I mentioned before, like I said, we have a very active R&D department still, and we have things coming out in the next year, changes to Total Pack, other things coming. So I think most people that kind of follow us, follow Viking, follow Supply Net, I think they'll have the information that they need through our different social media, LinkedIn and whatnot, or our website. Because I think a lot of things are coming down the road. It'll be very interesting. So hopefully, so we'll announce it, but keep an eye out and reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to have these discussions with anybody.
Awesome. Jonathan, thank you for your time today, buddy. And as always, appreciate your partnership.
Well, thank you very much.
Take care.
Okay, bye.